everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, joined by Tom Campbell, because this Sunday we will be reacting to WWE's Clash of Champions. Ross, of course, will also be joining us, and he is, of course, currently the Cultaholic Heavyweight Champion, but he's not here.
No, he is in an undisclosed location. We believe it's underneath a home bargain somewhere.
That certainly wouldn't,
south of the country.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. But he will be sending his predictions in at the end of each one of our picks. So don't worry, he'll be there. He'll be
still got plenty of Ross.
Oh my God,
plenty of Ross.
Oh, we do. We also, as always, have a lovely punishment for the loser or losers of this predictions contest. There are three options which you can vote for by going to patreon.com/cultaholic, and they are Champions Chops. The loser gets sprayed with a little bit of the bubbly.
That's the best one.
Or the two losers, or the two who don't win, I guess, have to be handcuffed together for 24 hours. And once again, to vote for that, head to patreon.com/cultaholic. So let's waste no further time and let's crack on with the first of our predictions. Tom, first we have the triple threat match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Drew Gulak versus Humberto Carrillo versus my man, Lince Dorado. I love him so, but who do you have and why?
Well, first of all, I think we need to, as the kids say, pour one out for 205 Live this week.
It's
been a tough old week for the Cruiserweight show, which seems to be coming to an end. But I think that, you know what, I've betted against him pretty much every time I've done a predictions competition. I've betted against him. This time, I don't think I can bet against him. So, oh no, I tell a lie. First time I played this game, I betted with him.
Okay.
But we'll go back to winning ways. I think Drew Gulak's going to retain.
Okay.
I don't think there's been enough of the story told between Carrillo and Dorado yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I want that to pan out a bit more, and I want Gulak to retain the shenanigans.
I totally agree in this one. I'm going to go for Drew Gulak as well. I also think, should 205 Live kind of become more integrated, well, it's being cancelled, but should the Cruiserweight division become more featured on NXT, I think that Gulak's the best bet to start things off afresh as not afresh as the new champion, but as the champion on a new show. I think he's the most charismatic of the three, and I think he's got, I think he's got the more developed persona and storylines going forward. So I'm going to go for Drew Gulak as well. Now let's see what Ross thinks.
Hello, you join me, my seasonal residents here in Ipswich. You may be wondering where the Cultaholic Heavyweight Championship belt is. It's in a case back in Newcastle upon Tyne because I'm in Ipswich. This is Todd. He was given to me by my illegitimate long-lost brother, Bray Wyatt. He's going to tell me who's going to win the Cruiserweight Championship match at Clash of Champions on Sunday. Who's going to win, Todd? It's Drew Gulak. He's going to win because of dissension between Lince Dorado and Humberto Carrillo. It's funny Todd would say that because Sam said that as well.
Thank you, Ross. The Raw Tag Team Championships are on the line as Rudolph.
Yes.
Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler.
I like it.
Challenge Strolling around at the speed of sound.
Yes.
Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins. Who you got and why, Jack?
I've gone for the bloody red-nosed reindeer, Tom. I've gone for Rudolph. I've gone for Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and I can't quite work out how, because obviously Rollins and Strowman are far stronger in kayfabe than they are. You know, how are they going to pull out a win? Which one are they going to pin? But at the same time, I do think that it's the logical one, given what's going to happen later on in the show when Rollins and Strowman go head-to-head. So it's not what I'm confident on, because I can't actually work out what the finish could possibly be, but I'm going to go for the heels. What about you?
I'm actually picking Rollins and Strowman to retain
Ooh.
at this point. I think it adds an extra little wrinkle to their world title match later on, their universal title match later on, if they are still having to be champions.
Yeah, that makes sense as well.
I think, and I think this is, I can't see Roode and Ziggler being a permanent tag team thing. I think it's just two guys that they put in a tag match against Rollins and Strowman in a hope to, you know, to add a little bit of jeopardy to their title match. And it's two guys who probably don't really lose much by losing.
Yeah, because they've not got much to begin with as a team.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you come from nothing, you got nothing, as the streets probably said that. But what has the Cultaholic Heavyweight Champion gone for? Let's cross to Ross Tweddell and find out.
So then, Todd, who's going to win the Raw Tag Team Championship match? You think the Sexy Boys will win? Because Gallows and Anderson will get involved because they're jealous that Strowman and Rollins got to drink a beer with old Stone Cold on this week's Raw? It's a good prediction, that.
Next up, we have the US title match, a very late one that was set up on Raw actually this week between AJ Styles, the reigning champion, and a man who's had his number recently. It's Gary Garbutt, the janitor, Cedric Alexander. Who have you gone for and why?
Well, if it was Gary challenging, I'd have gone Gary personally, but it's not. We've got Cedric Alexander. But I'm going to say on this occasion, it's AJ Styles to retain. I've enjoyed Cedric's rise on Raw. I think he's in a great position when he's knocking heads with the OC and AJ Styles. I think it can't hurt to be in a match against AJ Styles on pay-per-view. I think it's a great exposure for him. I can't see Cedric winning a singles belt just yet, though. In time, yes, but not quite yet. How about you, Jack? Who are you picking and why?
I've not got much more to add. I totally agree. I'm going to go for AJ Styles. I've also been really enjoying Cedric's push, but I don't think it's quite time yet. Let's see if Ross agrees with us as well, and let's go to his super secret location. Oh,
the United States Championship match. Who will win, Todd? AJ Styles will win, he says, because even though Cedric Alexander has been around for a while, he's been having good matches, we still don't know what he's about, and despite the fact he pinned AJ on this week's Raw, AJ will continue with some buggery to elongate his championship reign and continue this feud for a while, where Cedric will eventually win because he's apparently in line for a big push on Raw. The words from Todd there.
SmackDown Tag Team title match up next, and it's the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods against Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder, The Revival, part of FTRKO, which makes no sense as an acronym. The Randall Keith Orton, whatever, Trevor. Jack, who are you picking and why?
This one's a bit of a coin flip for me. I don't think it'll be the last match that they have together. I think maybe we'll see one of those lovely... Do you remember that New Day Hell in a Cell match against the Usos that was really good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so with Hell in a Cell on the horizon, I think we'll get a rematch regardless of who wins this one. But as for this match itself, I honestly have no idea. I'm going to potentially just go for the New Day. I just think that maybe the Revival will get it down the line, maybe at Hell in a Cell, or maybe on like the first SmackDown on Fox or something, but I don't think that it's going to be now, but it's definitely one of my least confident predictions. What about you?
I'm actually predicting a title change here.
Okay.
I think the Revival are going to beat the New Day. I think because we've got this title match later on with Kofi and Randy Orton, and I'm playing off that a little bit.
Yeah.
The whole idea that has Randy like wound up Kofi to the point where like he's going to make a mistake and lose the belt. And I think if the New Day lose earlier in the night, it kind of sets that little bit of a doubt in: is this going to affect Kofi? Is this going to change the game? Does this mean that the New Day are going to have a terrible night? Or it just kind of adds an element of doubt to the title match if the New Day lose the tag titles. I think it just adds a little bit of intrigue in a later match. So I think for that reason and that reason alone, I think the Revival are going to win the tag belts for SmackDown.
That's very fair logic.
Perfectly happy with that. But does Ross agree? Let's cross to the secret location and find out.
The SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship match, Todd. Who's winning? The Revival's winning. Because the New Day have injured body parts and because the Revival are traditionalists, easy for me to say, in my humble abode here in Ipswich upon Tyne, England. I'm rambling now, just like a rabbit. The Revival will win because they will beat down the already injured leg of Xavier Woods and the already hurt pride, or whatever, of Big E. Even though it's a story of the New Day coming back up, they won't do it, Todd thinks, so I'm going to go with that.
Next up, we go to the big old brawl between the big dog and between Roman Reigns and Erick Rowan. Tom, who have you gone for and why?
The big dog and the big dog with the M and the W the wrong way around. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns on this one.
Yeah.
Seems obvious that like Roman's just going to clatter him. They're just dragging this whodunit thing out now.
I know, well...
Like, meaninglessly so.
I feel like maybe this is like, let's just scrap this storyline and refresh. Part of me, if I had any sort of bravery about me, I'd have gone for Rowan here because he's the one with the momentum, I guess. He's the one who's been attacking Roman. But at the same time, I think this is just going to cut short a storyline that really did lose its way quite quickly. So I'm going to go for Roman Reigns as well. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't know what to make of it.
I think it might, you know what, if they just let them just batter each other for 20 minutes, it might be good fun.
I think it could be a good match, but the storylines, especially because I'm not covering SmackDown week to week, I've just been catching up with it the next day and just being like, what? Who's this guy who looks like Rowan? Where's he? Is he going to crop up?
Oh, what if he runs in?
I'd like that, actually.
I'd love that. Let's make that a thing. What is Ross going to go for? Should we find out from Ross's top secret location?
Let's go there right now. I'd love it if he was, we don't know where he's going to be. If he's just in front of a sign like, welcome to Newcastle. Or something like that. But no, yeah, let's cross over to there.
Todd? Where have you gone? Todd! Oh, there you are. Who's going to win between Roman Reigns and Erick Rowan? It's going to be Rowan. You think that no disqualification was a crucial detail put into this match, which means Daniel Bryan, who will be revealed to have been behind this all along, will get involved, and then we'll get Roman Reigns against Daniel Bryan inside Hell in the Cell next month? Rowan will win? Wow, I agree with him.
Women's Tag Team Championships on the line as Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross face Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Jack, who are you picking and why?
Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I think the whole angle with Mandy Rose on this week's SmackDown was poorly received, and I think that maybe they'll go, let's just keep the titles on Alexa and Nikki for now. Also, it doesn't make any sense if the bullies win. That doesn't make any sense. I know that sometimes in wrestling the bullies win first, and then the good guys win later on, and that's the very fabric of this glorious sport. But I think that in this case, when it's been such a low blow, I think that you just need to have the babyfaces win straight away. So I'm going to go for Alexa and Nikki. What about you?
Same. I just think there's not enough. I mean, obviously there was all that stuff on SmackDown. Oh, you're ugly, la 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 la. But apart from that, there isn't really any momentum behind Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Like they flip-flopped them a little bit. Weren't they good guys at one? Wasn't Sonya like the pride fighter?
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a push towards being a goodie?
Everyone thought she was going to turn on Mandy and become like a babyface on her own. I don't know what happened.
Convoluted nonsense. I don't think that they're going to win the belts. I think Alexa Bliss and Nikki will retain said titles. But what does Ross think from his top secret location? Let's find out.
Women's Tag Team Championships, Todd. Alexa and Nikki. Mandy and Sonya. It's Alexa and Nikki.
Next up, the IC title match pitting the champion Shinsuke Nakamura, probably with Sami Zayn in his corner, against the challenger The Miz. Tom, who have you got and why?
Now, I'm going to go against a very popular theory, which I'm sure you will share shortly. Nakamura has to retain, in my opinion. They've just launched this thing where he is sort of this beast that Sami Zayn is controlling. And it would just feel like a real waste of perfectly good momentum to have this new partnership formed, have this new partnership build, and then just to have Nakamura lose the championship at this point before they've even done anything. So I reckon Nakamura to retain, probably via shenanigans, but Nakamura to retain.
I think The Miz will win, thereby going one step closer to completing his, and indeed WWE's quest to make him the IC champion with the most reigns, because obviously we all know who's in first place currently, and he enjoys a little bit of the bubbly. So I think that The Miz will win, then Nakamura will win it back at some point, then The Miz will win it back, and then WWE can go, there you go, Miz is the most successful IC champion of all time, don't think about that other dude. So I'm going to go for The Miz. Sometimes it's nice to predict with your heart and with your like emotions and how you feel the story really should go. Sometimes you've got to use horrible, sterile logic, and that's what I've gone for here. But I nearly forgot about him. But what's Ross got to say about this whole thing?
I'm going to give Todd a match off here because I firmly believe that Shinsuke Nakamura will defeat The Miz to retain the Intercontinental Championship because of this new tandem with Sami Zayn, and also because I believe that this feud with The Miz was just a placeholder feud for Nakamura while Ali was in the King of the Ring tournament, and the Ali feud will continue after Sunday. So that's why Nakamura will win.
WWE Championship on the line. Randall Keith challenging Kofi Kingston. Who are you picking and why, Jack?
This is another one that I'm really not certain on, but I'm going to go for Randall Keith. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think that he maybe needs to be WWE champion again at this stage of his career, but sometimes I feel like WWE just can't resist doing it. The other thing that kind of turned the tide in my head as well was this week on SmackDown, Kofi looked so strong and so powerful and so in control that I can't really see him just winning and then that's it. I know that the old myth of like whoever stands tall on TV will lose at the pay-per-view. I know that's not actually true, but it's kind of suckered me in this time a little bit. But what about you?
I'm going to use a little bit of the logic bomb that you dropped a short while ago and say Kofi Kingston on this occasion.
Okay.
Because Kofi Kingston is 2 weeks away from beating the title reign of Jinder Mahal.
Ooh.
And I think they are keen. And in a similar sense to... as you say, with The Miz, they're kind of keen to sort of write some new history.
Yeah.
And they've been very keen on that as of late. And I think Kofi Kingston becoming like one of the longest reigning WWE champions of the modern era feels like quite a nice bit of history to write. And also, it's as I mentioned earlier, with the Revival winning the tag belts in my head, it adds a little bit of doubt to the match. Will the New Day losing their belts affects Kofi mentally.
Yeah, and then he has to overcomes
it all and actually does it, and then finally puts... Because think about it, we still haven't really put the whole Randy Orton stupid thing to rest.
No, we haven't.
Like, still, that is yet to happen. So I think this has got to be the moment where Kofi finally goes, right, I am good enough because I beat you.
Yeah.
And on to the next. I think whoever he faces next, he will probably lose to. But I don't think it'll be Randall Keith. I think Randall Keith is merely just continuing to push him up there.
Fair enough.
I do believe. But what does Ross think? That's the question. Over to the top secret location to find out.
I know you don't like snakes, Todd, but who will win between the Viper, Randy Orton, and Kofi Kingston? You believe that Kofi Kingston will win because of nefarious means, just like SummerSlam, which means this feud will continue and then end inside Hell in a Cell? Nod if you agree. Nod. Nod. He nodded.
Next up, I think it's fair to say probably one of the most hyped, biggest matches on this show. It's the Raw Women's Championship between Becky Lynch and the returning Sasha Banks. Who have you got and why?
I've gone for Sasha on this one. I think that Becky's had an incredible title reign. I've enjoyed Becky Lynch being champion. But I think that in my head, again, I'm thinking long booking wise, I kind of picture Bayley with the SmackDown title, Sasha with the Raw title, both of them with the women's tag belts. Kinda like I have all the gold type scenario.
Okay.
And then I'm annoyed they did Becky and Charlotte as a team this past week on Raw.
This early.
Because they could have built that to Survivor Series. The whole thing of Becky saying, Charlotte tag with me, and Charlotte's like, nah. Charlotte then goes, Becky tag with me, and Becky's like, nah. So they build to that. But they gave it to us for free, but whatever, Trevor. But I think that journey begins for Sasha Banks by winning over Bayley. How about you, sir?
Winning over Becky.
Oh, Becky, not Becky. Don't beat Bayley. You've just teamed up with her, you silly bitch.
That would be really silly. I've gone for Sasha as well. Thinking of it in kind of an opposite way to you, but coming to the same conclusion, because you've gone kind of long term. I've gone kind of short term, and I've just looked at it. I've used Occam's razor, taken away all the extra stuff. Oh yeah, we're getting philosophical here. I've taken away all the extra stuff around it, and I've just thought, they've just brought Sasha back. She's newly healed. She's the new big star of the women's division. Give her the belt straight away, and that's why I've gone for Sasha. Whoa. Are you impressed with my use of Occam's razor?
Occam's razor, not to be confused with the Authors of Pains, mate. Occam's razor.
Occam and razor, yes.
I love Occam's razor. That's brilliant.
Thank you, Ross. Maybe he's used Occam's razor.
If he has, how funny would that be?
It would be great if he used a different school of philosophical thought. He just whips out a bit of Buddhism, like Zen, like Buddhism.
Cloud Larry Strauss's narrative theory. Let's go to Ross and find out.
Banks and Becky, Todd. Who will win? Banks will win. And Todd firmly believes that WWE cannot lie to Sasha Banks twice in one calendar year. And because she's just signed a new contract, there's got to be assurances that she's going to hold the Raw Women's Championship. And that will happen this Sunday with Becky chasing that title, Charlotte chasing the other one, and the four horsewomen going all the way through to WrestleMania, where they will have a fatal four-way match. Thank you, Todd, for your help at this time.
SmackDown Women's Championship on the line, and it is Bayley defending against Charlotte Flair. Who you got and why, Jack?
This is a risky one, and usually I try and make a rule in these predictions contests of not trying to think too much about it. Don't complicate it. Never go for a no contest or a draw. That's not going to happen. Never try and think about screwy finishes or stipulations and stuff. But I've done it this time. I've gone for Charlotte Flair, but I don't necessarily think that means she'll leave as champion. I think Bayley will weasel her way out of it by DQ or count out or something. So Charlotte will win the match, but not the title. Or the backup plan to fall back on with this prediction is that it's Charlotte Flair and she's often booked really strong. So maybe she'll just win. I'm going for Charlotte Flair either way. I don't know what I'm doing. What's your prediction?
I'm going the opposite, and I'm picking Bayley. I feel like Bayley needs to beat Charlotte to get a bit of a proverbial monkey off her back.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's one of those opponents that Bayley always seems to have come up against and never, I mean, you'll tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, never really feels like she got the one up on. And now she's this sort of new angry Bayley.
Not on a level playing field. She cashed in Money in the Bank, but that was a cash in.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Like I want like a competitive match that Bayley, whether it's screwy or not, I don't know, but I want a competitive match that Bayley wins against Charlotte.
Fair.
And I think that just kind of adds this whole thing of Becky and Charlotte need to team together to stop these two from destroying the women's division.
God, it's like the bloody Avengers, isn't it?
I know it is. It's a very ambitious crossover. For Bayley, I think to retain it, that seems to me the obvious thing. But does Ross agree? Let's cross and find out.
Todd, where are you? He's been gone for 20 minutes. Todd, where are... Hello, Todd. Charlotte and Bayley, who's going to win? Bayley's going to win through nefarious means, continuing this feud all the way through to Hell in a Cell. Thanks. Ta-da. Goodbye. All the best.
And finally, the Universal title match. Can they coexist? Can they not? Well, by this point, no, because they're wrestling each other.
Yeah.
That would be silly if they got along in this one. It's Seth Rollins, the Universal Champion, taking on Braun Strowman. Who have you gone for and why?
It's gotta be Seth for this. I think this is good. It sounds really bad going into it. I do believe this is one of those pay-per-views where nothing massively groundbreaking will happen. I think it's very much on the
Every
road to
title's on
something
the
else.
line.
I know, but no, this just feels like, okay, it's there, let's crack on.
Right.
I think Seth will retain. I think it'll be a fun match. I think those two will have some good chemistry together. I like the idea of Seth trying to overcome this mountain of a man, but I do think that Seth will leave with both the Raw Tag title and a WWE title, all belts intact for Sethany. What about you, sir?
I've gone for Seth as well. But there's just this part of me, I mentioned before how I never go for a draw or no contest because it's so difficult to predict when it's going to happen. I've just got this nagging, horrible dread feeling that Brock Lesnar's going to come out. And just got this horrible, because it happened around this time last year, didn't it? It was Hell in a Cell last year when he came back, and then it happened at Money in the Bank this year. And it just seems like we haven't seen him in a while. He's just going to run out and do some stuff.
Somebody said his name 3 times in the mirror. Oh,
and every time Strowman gets this close to winning the Universal title, someone messes it up for him, be it Baron Corbin that time, or sometimes Brock Lesnar as well.
Mainly Brock Lesnar.
So I'm gonna go for Seth and just hope that it's just a normal wrestling match and nothing out of the ordinary happens, and it'll be fine, and we'll not see any beasts incarnate or otherwise, and it'll be totally cool. Okay, let's see what Ross thinks. And if he's mentioned Lesnar as well, that's a really big coincidence because we don't know what he's said, but maybe he won't have, but I'm scared.
Finally, Todd, we have the Universal Championship match. Who's winning that? Seth Rollins is. Thanks, Todd.
So those are our predictions for Clash of Champions. I am only sort of half confident. How are you feeling about your predictions?
Well, I've literally had a 100% record on predictions.
Oh yeah.
And I've had an absolute stinker on predictions.
Yeah.
So it's everything to play for. I don't fancy eating a massive lot of birthday cake again.
No.
So I'd quite like to take the championship on holiday with me next week. That'd be
bloody
nice.
hell, no, we can't let that happen.
I'm going abroad. Do you want the belt on tour? Follow me. Follow me. Walk with Elias.
I have no idea what Ross has gone for, but now that you've said that, we need to stop that from happening. So Ross, I hope that your picks are good, and I hope that mine are as well, because we can't let this happen again, Tom. We just can't. I don't want to see Costa del Belt on Twitter.
I do. No. I do. Look, whatever happens, someone's going to win the belt, and there are going to be some hilarious punishments at the other side, and you can vote for that on our Discord. It is Champions Chops. It is the tag team that won't get along, handcuffed for 24 hours, the two losers, or sprayed with a little bit of the bubbly.
You mentioned Discord there. It's the Patreon, patreon.com/cultaholic.
That is right.
As part of the Patreon, the Discord's all involved. It's all tied.
Patreon,
it's all tied together. No, we don't mention the Discord. No, thanks for doing that. I've been jacking. Follow me on Twitter at Jack the Jobber.
Tom Campbell, you can follow me at Tom Campbell or outside my house.
And thank you very much for watching, and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.